afternoon and welcome to today's craft class. My name is Julie Kettlewell and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the UK. If this is your first time watching my channel, then please do say hi, leave me a comment, click on the subscribe and click on the bell so you get notifications. That would be amazing. I'd like to give a big shout out to the lovely 9 ladies who have signed up for this class today, and I am going to do this as one whole class, so I'm just going to do all the cards in one go. You can pause this video, you can drag the cursor back to rewind if you miss something. I have put the live chat facility on. I will be sat at home on the live chat able to answer questions with you. It is pre-recorded because that works best for me and for my customers as well. So yeah, welcome to this is the first Saturday class of 2022. In fact, it's the only Saturday class in January, and then my classes really kick off in February. If you'd like more information about classes, you can check out the description underneath this video, or you can visit my dedicated events booking website, which is events.thepaperhaven.co.uk. So today we are going to be focusing on some colouring techniques. Now we have lots of colouring mediums in our catalogue, and customers and crafters can often find that they lack confidence with their colouring and or don't realise how easy some of the techniques are that we have. So today's cards aren't particularly difficult whatsoever. They are very simple cards, but I am going to be sharing 4 different colouring techniques with you using 4 different colouring mediums. I also have a follow-up class to this one on Saturday the 12th of February using the masks. A new mask, so look out for that. I'm going to go through the pack with you to the ladies who've got the class. You all received a free pack of the 12 by 12 papers and a piece of basic black A4. It could have been underneath your papers or on top of your papers. There was a full pack of the water painters. I need to talk to you about those in a moment. And inside your lovely little pack here, you should have one blending brush. You'll have one blender pen. There's 2 in this pack here. And you should have 2 sponge daubers, okay? So they've been popped into that little pack for you. I've split those down. The blending brushes come in a pack of 3, so I've given you one as a taster. If you like them, then you can order more. The blender pens again come in a pack of 3. I've given you one as a taster. And the daubers come in a pack of 5 actually, and I've given you 2 there. I had to give you a full pack of the water painters because these are all different sizes. Now this is a good opportunity for me to talk about these. These are far superior to the ones we used to have. However, they are a little bit different to... They open in a way that you might not expect. They don't open the way you'd normally expect to twist something to open. So you know there's a saying, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Well, lefty loosey doesn't work. Turning them left or anti-clockwise actually tightens them up. So you actually have to turn them the opposite way to what you would imagine. And then I need you to all go away now, or pause the video or whatever, and I need you to fill up. You only need to use probably the smallest brush, the narrowest brush, and then fill that up with water. And remember, you're going to turn it to the left to tighten it up. So I would use the, probably this one is the one you need to use. And you don't have to fill it fully up, half will be fine for today's class. And pop the lid back on. Okay, so we're not going to do that one first. So if you haven't done the water thing, sorry, I just got a phone call then that interrupted me recording my video. So I was just telling you to use the thinnest water brush. And yeah, I don't know, I think we'll be doing that probably last. maybe second to last. And then you have a little pack here with 4 card bases in that have already been cut for you, 4 envelopes, there's 4 punched out shapes, and then a little drink and a chocolate biscuit, because we all need one of those. And I'm actually having my drink here. Well, I'm saying with you now, but on Thursday when I recorded this. Okay, so let me show you the cards. I did forget to say on the email I sent you, girls, you will also need a sentiment set to stamp your greetings. Fairly small one. I'm using this one. It's a new one called Celebrating You. And it's in the mini catalogue. You can add these on afterwards if you don't have that to hand. Okay, so these are the designs we're going to do, and I've kept them all the same in that I've used the same size papers, really simple cards. So this one is with the blending brushes, this one is with the blender pens, this one is with the water painters, I'm just seeing if they're on screen, and this one is with the sponge daubers. And you will need, I did say on the email, you could use the same colour ink pad for the whole thing, plus a green, or you could use different colour ink pads. You could use your favourite colours. It doesn't really matter what colours you use, as long as you're using our Stampin' Up, one of the colours. I know you've all got plenty of ink pads. So I'm going to start with this one, and then I'm going to do this one, and this one. I think that's the way we'll do it. Okay. So let's start with the blending brush. Now, this is the one where I said you will need some scrap paper to work with. What we are going to do is, let's cut down all our papers though to start with, and I need to refamiliarise myself with the size. So it's 8.5 by 12.8. Okay, so let's get that cut actually. So I'm going to cut my papers. So the first one I'm going to use is the spotty one. It's this on the other side, which you can see there. So I'm going to cut it 8.5 by 12.8. Okay, let me just check that I've done this right. Yep, I have. And then I'm going to cut 4 centimetres off, because what we're going to do is we're going to turn that round for the bottom part. Okay, so we'll put that on a little pile there, and we've done that one, so we can assign them to the correct. Okay, and then we need this one, which is here, and I've already got a piece that I cut last time, so it's 8.5 by 12.8, and then cut 4 off. Okay, so you've got that, and then we're going to have that, so we'll pop that to one side. This one is actually this one, and again this is already the right size, 8.5, okay, by 12.8. Now though, I don't really want that size, so I'm going to cut 4 off. So you could have actually cut it to 8.8, and I'm going to go back to this piece and cut another 4 centimetres off, because I preferred to have that like that. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And then finally, we're going to come back to this one. Oh, have I got enough there? Oh, I have. We're going to come back to this design, and we're going to do, but we're not going to use, just to confuse you. So if you want to keep cutting it at 12.8, you've got plenty of the, or you could just cut it at 8.8, but then I'm going to cut 4 off. So I've got that piece, yeah, and then I'm going to use this one that's on the back of the spotty. think I've got a piece left here that's just enough. 8.5, and I'm just going to cut a piece 4. Okay, so we should have then all of our pieces. Yep. And I think for the paper, that's all the cutting that we need to do, but we need to cut our black card. And we're going to put this in portrait or vertically, and we're going to cut this at 9. So we're going to cut 9 like that, and then we're going to cut it at 13.3. So, but we need 4 of these, so we'll take the other piece, cut it at 9. And 13.3. Okay, so I realised that was quite frenzied, the cutting. But, so I'm going to have a little drink and let you catch up. And just keep my workstation tidy. So I've now got 4 pieces of black, and I've got all my bits assigned. Okay, so we're going to do this one first. But I did say that I'm going to have a drink. I'll bring in my scrap paper. A little drink first. Please do ask questions if you are struggling. These are the papers. They're not available to purchase. They were free back in August and September last year. And I had a few spare packs, so I thought, what should I do with those papers? I know. I'll do a class with my customers. So I'm going to use balmy blue for this one. Okay, and these, I mean, I could have washed that out, but I knew that was balmy blue that I've used. If you run these under the hot tap, the ink will just wash out. The only one where it's not fully washed out is like a hot pink, a bright pink. So I'm going to tap on here. I'm going to take some of the ink off, but I'm going to start rubbing from the corner. Now, remember, you can always take off. No, I'm saying that wrong. You can always add more, but you can't take away. Okay, so start rubbing in a circular motion, and we are buffing. We are pressing on quite heavily. Oh, look, I've made a Mickey Mouse there. Or Minnie. I think that sounds like the UPS man or woman at the outside. There's a delivery, so who knows, it could be. There's a white van though, so we'll see. I might get a text in a minute or an email. And don't beat yourself up if you have like an ombre look, if it's not even, because we can always add more on. Look, I've got a bit there that's not even, so we can always add some more on. And heck, at the end of the day, it is a handmade card. We beat ourselves up about perfection, not just in our crafting, but, you know, in general. So I'm just... It's a bit of a workout for the old hand, is this? So the mask class will involve using these, and it's fantastic. The masks are amazing. I've ended up with a blob there, but that's fine. I can work with that. That's all right. Just add a bit more ink and keep it moving. The joy of doing this is if because you've got a full pack of paper, we will hardly make a dent on your papers that you've used today. So if you don't like what you've done, if it's your first practice and you think, yeah, I need to work on that, then work on it and do another piece. Heck, you've got absolutely loads in the kit today. There we go. I think I'll leave it at that. Okay. Now what I want you to do is just check, because this piece of paper isn't quite square. It's 8.5 by 8.8. So if you put it there like that and it's very narrow, the border, chances are you've got it wrong. You want the narrower piece, so it's 8.5 and the 8.8 is going down. So can you see, look at the border there, but look, if I do it the wrong way, there's hardly any border at the side. So I'm going to pop that there, and then that should sit there and fit nicely there like that. Okay, so I'm just going to take my multi-purpose glue and glue that on. With an equal border around the top and the sides. And then I'm going to take the little scrap that we had, that 4cm piece, and I am going to pop that there. And it's sort of flush, butted up to the piece of paper. And then that can stick on our card base. So they're already folded for you. You should have a nice big white border around that. If you wanted to add some ribbon, you could add some ribbon around where the joining of the two patterns of paper is. That would look super. But I've wanted to keep these simple, to keep these simple, to focus on the technique rather than the card design. Now going to take one of the little tailored tag punch shapes, and this will be interesting. I'm going to try and stamp in that now. Okay, so I've used Happy Birthday on the other one. I think I might actually use Just For You. So I've got something that's, I'm going to put the sticker on so I can see it. Oh, I've took lots of love off. Took the wrong one. That'd have been fun trying to match those up. Okay, so it's Just For You. Let's get rid of those. Pop it on the block there. Oops, that was a bit loud. And I'm going to take a basic grey, or you can use black ink. Memento would work. First time using this stamp. There we go. And that's just going to go in there like that. You could put a gem on, or you could even decorate it with some little flowers. Punched out flowers. It's very plain, this card, but it's intended to be. So the other design that I did, the Happy Birthday, was a stamp from the same set here, and I've coloured it in with the coordinating ink with a blender pen. So that's card one, using blending brushes, all done. That's the first technique. So I think we're 20 minutes in and we've done our first technique. So yeah, hope you found that okay and you've got a nice simple card. I'm going to pop that to one side and then bring in card number 2. I'll have a drink, let you get your breath. For this one, I've used Polished Pink, which is one of this year's in colours. And we are now going to use the blender pen. You have only got the one. And I'll just have a drink and then I'll talk about the blender pens for a moment. Okay, now these, they've been around for quite a while and they're a clear pen and they've got some form of alcohol in them. They're a dual tip pen, so they're both exactly the same at each end, so it doesn't matter which one you use. I'm going to squeeze my pad together like that, like I'm playing the castanets, and get some ink in the lid. I always take ink from the lid, never from the pad, okay? And what I'm going to do, this is probably the card that takes probably the longest, okay? I'm going to take some ink with the brush and I'm going to go to my flower and I'm going to do the dark ink on the, I'm just doing little strokes and I'm not pressing on too hard. These blender pens, I'm using the lines as a guide, and obviously as you colour, the colour fades out, yeah, because it runs out on the pen and you need to go back and reapply. So I'm not pressing hard at all because I'm only using paper. We're colouring on paper. So I'm doing strokes and then I do like circles. Now I would not use these for large images. This is probably the maximum I would do, maybe an inch. You know, I'm a fan of my stamping blends. So what I think I'll do, I think I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. So you can see me colouring. Now this is not supposed to be stressful. This is supposed to be relaxing. So I've applied some ink there and I'm doing circular motions and it gradually fades out. I'm not pressing very hard at all. It just fades out. I use the lines as a guide for where I want the darker and then I just let it fade. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, obviously we're colouring in an image that's already been created. It's printed on paper. We've not stamped it, yeah? We've not had to do any stamping. So you might be saying, Julie, what if I want to stamp and colour with these? Okay, so the answer is we're using water-based ink pads here. Our Stampin' Up ink pads are a water-based ink. So this means that we need to use an alcohol black ink pad if we were stamping. So we'd need to use a StazOn. So we use opposites, okay? So the ink pads, the coloured ink pads are water-based, so we use an alcohol black ink if we're stamping. I'm being so gentle because I don't want the paper to piff up, which can happen if you apply too much pressure. Yeah, so So we'll just colour that there, bit of colour there. These ones that are sort of in the corners, I'm not going to take too much time colouring these. How's that looking for you? I've got this big image now here to do. And you know, mine's not perfect. Because it's handmade. If you want to go add a little bit around the edge, just carefully, a little bit of dark. If you think it's too light, go and add a little bit more. But be careful you don't go back to it too much, because that is when it starts to sort of piff. So I'm just going to squeeze some more ink. That's a good one. Start where the lines are, and then I just go across. When there aren't any lines, I just do my own thing. So like with this one, I might start at the bottom and then go up and get lighter as it goes to the top. This one I might go from the side, pull it across. Okay, how are we looking? We've got this bit down here to do. Okay, so it's dried now, so you can have a look and see if you're happy with it. You can go and add a little bit more if you want to. If you can see, I have got some gradients of colour going on there. You're not going to achieve the same effect you are with the Stampin' Blends. But if I show you, you can see here, I have got some light and shade. Oh, look, I've missed one here. I have got some light and shade there in that. And close that ink pad up. Now, if you wanted to change colour, because you've been using that and you were doing another piece, you would just simply colour until it goes clear. Pop the lid back on and click it always. And then you can use it with another colour. So we're ready to construct our card now. And again, like the other one, check. Oh, look, that was right. So it's the narrower. That would be wrong if I did it like that, because there'd be hardly any border. So it's the narrower piece going there. And then that will go up there like so. I'm just going to have a bit more of my drink. And you might want to think, oh, I might like that, but I'm going to go with it like that. Now, so you can catch up, what I think I'll do for the next one, for this one, if you need to catch up. This isn't going to be a very long class unless you've paused and things, because they're not tricky cards. They're all the same size, and we've done all the cutting, haven't we? So that's there. just realised I need to zoom back out, don't I? That's going to go there. So let me try and zoom back out to the original position. There, that should be how we were. Okie doke. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually stamp that happy birthday from the Celebrating You set. The stamp is here. So I'll swap those over. Oh, pleased with that. Pleased with, oh, it's nearly off screen. I did a good stamping and it was off the screen. Okay, even though I cleaned the blender pen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and show you what I did. All I did, it's the same technique. If you've got a stamp that needed colouring in, I've not really let that dry, but and I've gone in a bit heavy there. But I'm not trying to do this ombre or anything. I'm just simply filling the letters in. Need a steady hand for this. I'm just filling the letters in to give it a little bit of a interest. There we go. Actually, that's a bit... I've not cleaned that, so I bet you're all shouting at the screen, Julie, clean your pen. So we can add that on. There, like that. And add it to our card. And there we have card number 2 done. Okay. So the next one is the water painters that you needed to have filled with a little bit of water. So I don't know if you've done that. I'm just going to use the narrowest one, but I'm going to use 2 different ink pads because there's leaves in this bit. So I've chosen to use Calypso Coral and Pear Pizzazz. I think I may have used Old Olive on here, but I'm going to go for Pear Pizzazz because they're both from the Subtles family. Now, it's the same theory as with the blender pens, but we need to squeeze the lid again. Oh, we don't need to close it because we need to have access, Julie. Can move that out of the way. Here we've got our little, and then the lid goes on the top so you don't lose it. And what I want you to do is take some ink, but I want you to squeeze and you'll start to see the water come out. In fact, let me zoom in again. There. Yeah, so it's quite runny there now. And we're just going to go over to the, we don't want it to be too runny, over to the design. And I'm just starting in the middle where the lines are and letting it fade out. I'm just doing little strokes. And I go back to the ink, pull the ink from there. If I think it's a bit too pale, I can go and add a little bit more like that. There we go. And you don't even have to go right to the edges. If you look at here, I've left a little bit of white space, and that's fine. So with these tiny ones here, I'm just going to literally, I'm not even going to try and make them look ombre. I'm just going to, they're quite small, so you don't even really need to reapply ink. It is quite a nice effect if you keep colouring and let it get paler and paler, yeah? And then it's like you've used different colour inks. So I've let that get a lot paler, and here I'm paler still. And I can add a little bit, I've got more depth of colour then. Literally it's nearly fading out there, so. Because when I made this one, I thought it was a little bit too intense with the colour. So now I'm going to go back and use my main colour for these larger flowers. This one, I'm going to start in the middle and just pull it out in a circle and go around and then pull the colour out. You know, I've never learned how to do this. I've just taught myself and just done what I thought. There. Just went round, did a circle and pulled the ink out. Again, this one similar, but I might do a different technique. I might do little strokes. Pull the ink out to the edges, and you don't even have to go all the way. Leave a little bit of white. If you get a line, so if you just go back and add a bit more ink, so then you don't have like an obvious line. There we go. Got quite a bit of ink on there, so what I'll do is I'll do some of these smaller ones, really pale like that. If you didn't take part in this class but you're interested in the products, I will put a description of the products that I've used in the description field of this video. The papers that I'm using, as I say, aren't available for purchasing, but the colouring mediums, they were a special gift to my customers, but the colouring mediums are available. So I've tried to make this one a little bit less intense than the original design. I've tried to have a little bit of light and shade with the flowers. Okay, I think I've got all the flowers now, just checking. Yeah, is that a flower? Sometimes it's hard to decide if they're a flower or a leaf. Oh, I think there's one there. Just eyeball it and check, give it a once over. Okay, so what we're going to do now we're going to take that piece of scrap and just paint it and get rid of any colour that's excess colour there. And now I'm going to take my Pear Pizzazz, give it a squeeze. And now this one hasn't been squeezed before, so there we go. That should do it. Quite pale, this one, compared to the one I've used. Now with the leaves, I'm just going to go down the spine and then just do strokes from the bottom of the leaf towards the top, like that, and reapply. And I'm just going to do strokes. I'm not even really taking care that I go to the full edge of the leaf, if that makes sense. Yep. Okay, I've not got much ink left, so I'm going to close that back up. Let's give it a good squeeze again. Oh, there we go, a little bit more. You know, you've got so much paper in here. You could carry on and make some more cards if you're on a roll. If you want to practice, you could carry on and make some more. This one probably will take a little bit longer to dry because we've got a bit more, we've got water on this one, and I can see some of it sitting on top of the paper a bit there. I think I've just coloured something that should have been a flower, but that's all right. So just give this a little bit of chance to dry, or if you have a heat tool, put it on setting number 1, not the full embossing setting. Don't try and emboss your paper, but just put it on setting number 1 and give it a quick blast, and it'll dry in no time, a few seconds. And there we go. Oh, clean that brush, Julie. Okay, so that's a lot less intense than the first one I did, if you can see there. I've tried on purpose. I didn't want it as dark. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out. I think that's right. And then I'm going to check that's wrong. I think I'd like it like that. I think we're good to go to stick down. You can see it's come through a little bit there, and that's fine. If I were you at home, I would maybe leave this to dry a bit more. I'm just doing it quickly for the purpose of I want to get the card made. But yeah, probably leave it, do your other card, your last one, and then come back to it and stick it down. Okay, let's do the happy birthday. Happy birthday. Oh, it's a bit higher this time, but that's fine. So I'm going to take that blender pen again. And I'll just... Oh, I've gone over the line there. Never mind. Stop rushing, Julie. There we go. So we will add that on. Onto there. And then onto our card. And there we have our third card, penultimate card. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer the sort of more intense colour, or do you prefer slightly lighter? You can see I've allowed here a little bit of white space towards the edge of the petals, which I really, really like. So that's the third card. And then final card, this is probably going to be the quickest, easiest. We're going to use the sponge daubers, and I did give you two, but you only need one, so you've got a spare one. And these sponge daubers, they sit on the end of your finger. And I'm going to take the Highland Heather ink. Now you can actually take this from the pad. Okay, so pop it in there. Now have a bit of a practice on here, yeah. So dab it in, build up a bit of ink on your dauber. Okay. So what we're going to do is dab it, and then you have to be. Am I still zoomed in? No. There we go. So what we're going to do is carefully, we're going to go in the middle, press quite hard, and then we're going to not press as much, but gradually circle it out to the edge, releasing pressure. So I went in quite intense, pressing hard, and gradually. And we don't colour we're just adding a bit of colour, and it does go over the edges, it will, but it's a lovely technique. So we start with this one. So when you've got a full flower that's not a half closed flower and you can see all the inside, do it that way. With these ones, you can start at the bottom, make it more intense, and then as it runs out, just come up to the top. So and then you can always add a bit more colour like that. So again, and you can practice, you've got loads of paper to do this. Now with the daubers, you can't really wash those, so I don't think you can anyway. I would just keep one for one colour. So can you see how I've done that? So I'm going to do another one of these full open ones. I'm going to start in the middle, pressing quite hard, and then just circling round, but releasing the pressure, getting a bit lighter like that. Start at the bottom with this one. Move up to the top. You can always go back and add a bit more colour, like that. With these ones in the corners, just give them a little rub. They're quite small to do anything with. Yeah. In the middle, pull it to the edges and release the pressure. Lovely technique. And then finally this one. There we go, that's all I need to do. Now there's a couple actually on the edge here. I just want to do that. Okay. And I'm totally happy with that. Happy with that. Do you like that look? Can you see I'm not even going in the edges, but it doesn't look like I've done it wrong. That's how it's supposed to look. Let's zoom back out. There we go. That's good. There we go, get our last. And I think I'll do the just for you for this one. There we go. Pop that on there. Oh, it's a shame it's covering up some of my colouring, but never mind. And then add it to our final card base. There we have 4 different cards using 4 different colouring techniques. And all I would say is just keep practicing. You've got plenty of paper. I'm sure you've all got white card and black card in your stash. So just to recap here, we used blending brushes. Here we used blender pen. Here we used a water painter, and here we used the sponge dauber. I've only used one punch, which is the tailored tag punch, and one stamp set, which is the Celebrating You stamp set. That was a really quick class today, as I say, because the cards are very simple. As you know, you've probably paused the video, rewound the video. If you've got any questions, please do send me an email at julie@thepaperhaven.co.uk, and I will get back to you. And if you'd like to order any of the products and you're in the UK or in Europe, then please take a look at my website, which is juliekettlewell.stampinup.net, and you can find all the ordering options on there. But for now, I'd like to say a big thank you to my ladies who've taken part in this class today, my first Saturday class of 2022. The next one that I have is on the 12th of February, which is the follow-up to this class. Excuse me. Excuse me. Marvellous masks. And you should have seen me use those on Thursday night on this week's Paper Crafts and Piano. So I hope I've given you some ideas there. And I hope I've got a special price for those of you who've already got the blending brushes and the blender pens. And I've got another price for those of you who haven't got them. So I'm trying to cater for everybody. So that's the next class on a Saturday afternoon. Thank you for sharing your afternoon with me. Please take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.